We're about to show you the correct procedures for installation of the Trafidex system that will ensure a perfect result every time. This system has been devised through rigorous testing in our laboratory and on site at various installations. We know that this system is both proven and reliable. It'll ensure that if you follow these exact procedures, you will achieve perfect results every time. Hyperlast is registered to ISO 9001. This quality standard guarantees that each and every raw material received on site is consistently to specification and supplied from a quality assured source. Our production team mixes or reacts these products to a set formula to provide you, the applicator, with a consistent product every time it leaves our factory. We have documentation and controls for each and every stage of the manufacturing process that assists the operator to produce a consistent product with records to demonstrate it. In order to provide your client with a warranty, we need you, the applicator, to continue with this control documentation. If you don't keep the relevant records, we can't issue a warranty. So, let's move on to the first stage, which is to give you an overview of what we'll be covering. Firstly, receiving and checking of all raw materials. Next, we look at pre-installation checks. The installation itself, followed by post-installation checks. So, let's begin. Firstly, as part of your agreement and terms of use as an installer of Hyperlast products, you agree to keep a comprehensive log of all details that we'll need in the event of any quality issues that you may encounter. Our Hyperlast technicians can only offer help and support if they have the information that you'll find in our Hyperlast project control form. Quite simply, if you don't fill out these forms, we may not be able to solve any quality issues, which could affect both you and your clients. Your raw materials have arrived, and the first thing you need to do is check the product reference numbers as per the order. Are they correct? This is where you'll find this information. If this is correct, enter it into the project control form. Do you have the quantity that you ordered? Are the drums free from rust and dents, and is the seal intact? With bagged products, are they in good condition? Okay, so we've completed those initial checks. Next, we have to store the raw materials in an area which has the right temperature in order that the product, when used, will provide the correct surface protection that your customers need. So, the minimum temperature should be 5 degrees Celsius. The maximum temperature should be 25 degrees Celsius. Make a note on the control form of the date the reading was taken, and also log the length of time that all raw materials are stored. This section is all about preparation. Preparation of manpower, equipment, the area where the work will take place, and finally the substrate. In order for the product to be correctly applied, your staff must have completed the required training for each task that they'll undertake and be fully aware of how to handle and apply the Hyperlast products. As we've already stated to you, the documentation and form filling is a vital part of the installation process. Daily record sheets must be filled in for each part of the project, and technical data sheets and the MSDS should be available for reference on site if required. Due to the nature of the Trafidex installation, where each stage moves into the other within a very short time period, it's advisable to check your tools beforehand, as any delays due to faulty equipment may seriously affect one or more of the application processes. It's an obvious point to make, but the tools that you'll be using should be checked before starting the installation. This also includes personal protective equipment. You won't be able to carry out your work if the PPE isn't available and in good working order. In the unlikely event of a chemical spillage during the application process, we have spill kits available that will enable you to deal with any problems, which once again may affect you or take up valuable time during the application process. So, have the spill kit available and ready for use in such an emergency. A risk assessment will be required in order to evaluate and identify potential risks to the environment, people, and vehicles, which may be affected during the installation process. This is the responsibility of you, the installer. Hypalast recommends that a competently trained risk assessor be used for this task. A device for reading the temperature of the concrete is inserted into the floor before any work commences. If the temperature is below 0 degrees Celsius, then the material should not be applied. Always record the temperature on your daily record sheets. You should also check the moisture content of the concrete. If the moisture content is higher than 5%, the work should not commence. As part of the pre-installation stage, a plan of the floor layout should be prepared, dividing the area into manageable sections or bays. Use the plan as part of the documentation pack, as this is required to enable a warranty to be issued. Preparation of the substrate is an essential part of any project. Shot blasting should be carried out to remove any foreign matter, grease or surface latents that may be on the surface of the substrate. The next stage in the process is the application of the primer. This is a two-component system. Both components should be mixed thoroughly before pouring into the mixing vessel. Both materials should then be mixed together for approximately 1 minute to ensure complete mixing. This is normally done with a hand-operated drill. The mix system is then poured into a tray. This is for application by roller. The application is normally done with a sheepskin roller, and the primer is worked well into the surface to ensure complete coverage. Once the area has been primed, dry quartz sand should be broadcast into the surface at a rate of ½ a kilo per square meter to provide an additional mechanical key. The waterproof membrane is again a two-component system. Part A, the pre-polymer, is coloured blue, and Part B, the polyol, is coloured yellow. These materials will be mixed together through a spray dispensing machine. The operator is using an air-fed mask to ensure no vapor or overspray from the procedure is actually inhaled. Firstly, a flow of materials through the machine is checked to ensure both lines are clear. Then, a test patch is produced to check that the mixing action is taking place satisfactorily. This is normally done on a sheet of polypropylene to give easy release. This sheet can then be used for quality control purposes at a later date. The sprayed membrane produces a very elastomeric flexible sheet, which remains intact even if the substrate cracks or splits. The membrane is applied through the spray equipment in gentle sweeping motions. The system is very fast reacting and will be touch dry within 15 to 30 seconds. As the system is solvent-free, the thickness of the membrane can be increased quickly by applying a number of coats. Once the membrane has dried, this will normally take up to 2 hours, the next component is applied. This is the grip material. The grip material is a two-component system comprising of component A, resin, and component B, hardener. Firstly, component A needs to be mixed thoroughly before being transferred to the mixing vessel. Then add component B. Ensure all the contents of each container go into the mixing vessel. In the mixing vessel, stir the components to ensure a completely mixed system. Mix the two components together for approximately 1 minute. The material is then spread over the substrate using a notched squeegee. Once the section has been covered, the aggregate should be applied. This is normally done using a shovel or spade. The material is thrown onto the wet resin, making sure you can't see the surface underneath the resin. The technical term is to refusal. This means you can't see any resin coming through the aggregate. Once the grip resin has dried, the excess aggregate can be removed from the surface by brushing or through an industrial vacuum cleaner. Then a sealer or top coat can be applied to finish off the coating. Again, this will be applied with a roller. The sealer in this case is a one-component material and is used straight from a roller tray. The sealer is normally applied in 2 coats to give an even spread of colour. Please ensure all sections of the project control form have been completed and are signed where appropriate. Make sure that records have been checked and collated for copying and are ready to be sent to Hyperlast for warranty purposes. Please ensure you empty all drums and containers and dispose of them in line with environmental regulations. If you have any queries regarding this matter, please consult your Hyperlast contact. After the on-site inspection and viewing of daily record sheets and the project control form, the client will sign a completion certificate indicating their satisfaction with the work carried out. As a further quality standard, Hypercrete Trafidex system has received BBA accreditation for the use on all car parks.